Great.
Okay, good evening, everybody. My name is Daniel Blanga Gubbay, and I'm one of the artistic directors of KunstenFESTIVALdesArts. And the festival was supposed to happen right now in the month of May in Brussels, in collaboration with several partners, including BOZAR, and welcoming in Brussels several artists and 35 projects, among which the project of Amanda Piña, that I would like to welcome and to thank for being in conversation today. And the project of Amanda was a collaboration between KunstenFESTIVALdesArts and BOZAR, and it was supposed to happen in these days. Actually, today, while me and Amanda, we are speaking, is the day of the potential premiere of the project. For us, it was something particularly important to accompany this project this year, because somehow brings together different elements of what KunstenFESTIVALdesArts tries to do, which is first of all to support singular vision and specific projects, and then now we will speak about the project of Amanda, but also to reflect how artistic projects are a way to transmit knowledge and to share knowledge with local communities. And indeed, at the core of the project of Amanda, Frontera, there was a kind of double idea of transmission, starting from a dance that was somehow created in Spain in the 15th century to celebrate the victory over the Moors, and that somehow was transported within the Colonial project in South America, in the reproduction of colonial violence on this idea of othering someone else, victory over someone else. So maybe if Amanda, if we can start from all the research that you did for this project.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel, for the invitation, and thank you, BOZAR, for having this platform and having this possibility today, the day of our premiere. And yeah, we started this project. It is a long research looking at the idea of danza de conquista, conquest dance, and thinking that maybe in this dance was used in colonial times also as a weapon in order to colonize, in order to transform and to suppress and to modify or channel the energies of the people to be conquered. Mm-hmm. The energies in the sense, because in Mesoamerica, which is like the area where Mexico is a long culture, a wide cultural area. In Mesoamerica, there has been at the time of the colony a lot of social movements in form of dance, social practices in form of dance. So it was very clear from the beginning of the conquest that that energy had to be channeled into the new ideologies, Christianity, capital accumulation, etc. And the dance, for me, and what I found really interesting, and that's why the project has also lived long, and there is still a lot to discover inside the project, is that I have the feeling that the roots of racialization can be found in the export of the colonial difference from Europe, like imperial difference in that time, the export of that difference between who is darker and lesser human. Very interesting how the dance, which with elements inside of resistance, and these elements of resistance really modify the dance and made it today in the north of Mexico, in the area of the border, a dance of reclaiming public space.
Because the research started for you in this area in the north of Mexico.
Exactly. There has been in Matamoros, who is it's a twin sister of Brownsville, Texas. The situation in Matamoros in the 2005, 2006 was a situation where the public space was really eroded. Like the youth there couldn't do much, couldn't go out, you know, and it was so dangerous because, of course, in one hand you have maquila industry, which is a cheap labor industry. So you have two possibilities to work there, basically, if you're a man, a young man, right? Because it's a very, very patriarchal also context with militarization and the idea of territory of the cartels,
Yeah.
right? Which really inflicts on the body of women. So in that case, the youth, and I'm talking now here about the youth around Rodrigo de la Torre, who is the founder of this new dance, which is a dance that has all these traces inside, right? The style of Matamoros.
Mm-hmm.
They are people from the hood, working class, men who find a way of surviving that very difficult context. And you have the chance of working in the cartel, working in the administration, which really works like a corporation. It's really imitate the corporated context.
Mm-hmm.
Or you work in the maquila industry. Maquila industry is very, very cheap, like very bad paid.
Yeah.
Where all the factories are placed in the Mexican side, right? Because of cheap labor. So the narco, and this I understood while working with the youth there and with Rodrigo especially, it's a job, you know, it's a bad job because it's a dirty job, but it's one of the jobs that is there. And that's reality. And the rest is, you know, like making fantasies about it. It's not, it's evil, but it's also a fact.
Sure. And as I was mentioning, I had the impression there are like these two different elements of transmission in your project. That on the one side, you started from the history of this dance, how it traveled in history of coloniality until arriving in present day Mexico. But at the same time, I have the impression you use as well another form of transmission, which is how learning this dance and how reappropriating this dance becomes an empowering tool to turn the narrative, and how transmitting this narrative today to and the history of this dance as well might become a way to learn history, but as well to empower bodies that have been marginalized.
Totally. What is super interesting, I think, in the project is that the bodies of the dancers of Matamoros, they carry borders, but they live in a place which is totally porous, where you have to go from one side to the other if you want to buy something or whatever, go to a party, you know. It's the border is a place where you constantly cross. And when your body carry borders today, you feel it and you know it. And the discourse in Europe and the discourse also in general about migration are discourses that for me really like lesser the agency of the one who crosses, the one who moves, and the one whose body is inscripted. So I think the practice of the dance then can be empowering to create a counter-narrative of what that identity is, what's the beauty of it, what's the value of it, what is the power, and also the immense courage of the people who do that, you know, who really succeed. And also I think it's an homage to those who don't succeed, because in the context of Europe we have Frontex, we have a militarized structure that pushes back, right, and that doesn't allow help. Like and in that context, I think it's also a dance that honors all the travels that are interrupted.
And here in Brussels, you were supposed indeed to work on this double layer. On the one side, you were working with dancers coming from different contexts, and some of them from Mexico, and then you were also working with local communities to transmit this dance in order to create a kind of project where the choreography is reproduced, and then at a certain moment it becomes a final moment where whoever wants to join somehow in this empowering moment is allowed to do it.
Yeah, this is for me the beauty of the project in Kunsten and in BOZAR, which is to give the agency of the dance to the citizens for the end, and to, because I've been always interested in the political aspect of dance, because I think dance is anyhow politics, even if the politics of an arabesque are the politics of, you know, a class who wants to conserve itself, blah blah blah. Dance has been always politic, and I like the idea of dance not being a spectacle. I like the idea of dance of being something which has positionality.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think in the course of modernity, we really have lost the possibility to embody a position and to also create a social movement together through embodiment. You know, because of the division of, you know, the place our body has in society and the place our intellect has, and this kind of hierarchies, in a way we really lost the ability to engage physically with the subjects and with the ideas that we hold on as important, as valuable. And it is really different when you really put it in the body, when you really stand up and do the dance, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It is a
Yeah.
statement then, and it is a statement that can unite communities that are distant or that appear distant, you know. And this is what I think is super interesting, especially thinking of Brussels, which is a very, very, and in general Belgium, a place where a lot of different people live together every day, right?
Definitely. And I think that in our initial conversation, there was indeed this idea, and that also where all the collaboration with BOZAR started, of the importance of breaking the idea of geography and cultural geography that exists usually in the projection of marginality in relation to, for example, these dances or people in precarious position, and the importance of reclaiming a kind of centrality and central space, and how stage or as a place as the Hortahal in BOZAR does not function simply as a place to host somehow the project, but as well a kind of stage and political stage to reclaim a kind of centrality and to open new narratives.
Totally. I think you put it really nice. I only have to maybe add that the idea of centrality is, as you say, like a narrative, a fabula, and the idea of minorities. It is also, you know, in Europe, when we talk about minorities and we talk about people of color, you know, it's a bit embarrassing, because white people in the world are minority, and this is a fact, you know. And it's not about white or not white. I think it's really about assuming who we are today in European cities and build from there, and build encounter and build discourse and build knowledge, instead of building separation and ignorance, right? Which is dangerous for the future, and that is a fact. So I think in that way, culture is really interesting, because culture is an art, right, and dance also, because it can create spaces of reflection that are lived, experienced, and not only in paper. And that experience creates, again, culture. Culture is not something static. Culture is in the genesis. We are making it. That project is creating it. It is an action.
And we look forward to see it soon or next year.
Yeah, I really hope that it will happen.
Amanda, thanks so much. It was very nice to be in conversation with you, and I hope all is going good for you.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel.
Thank you.